I remember standing in my grandfather's barn one early morning, watching him prepare for the day's work. He turned to me and said something I'll never forget. He said, "Son, these tools ain't gonna move themselves." Now, that might sound simple, maybe even a bit obvious, but in those 7 words lay a profound truth that would shape my entire understanding of success and achievement. Everything in life, everything that matters, everything that creates value, everything that leads to growth begins with that first step, that first move, that first decisive action. How many of you have a dream tucked away somewhere? A goal that's been sitting on the shelf, gathering dust? Maybe it's starting that business. Maybe it's writing that book. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation that could change everything. Keep that in mind because we're going to do something about it today. I've spent decades studying success, studying achievement, studying the difference between those who make it and those who just dream about making it. And I've discovered something remarkable. The size of your success isn't determined by the size of your goal. It's determined by the size of your first step. Why most people never take that first step? It's not because they don't want to succeed. It's not because they don't have the capability. It's because they've fallen into what I call the sophistication trap. They think they need to know everything before they can do anything. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Let me share with you the 4 enemies of action. These are the silent killers of dreams, the invisible barriers that keep good people from becoming great people. The first one is what I call fear disguised as preparation. Oh, this is a clever one. It makes you feel like you're doing something when you're really just hiding. You know how it goes? I'll start when I have more information. I'll begin when I've read one more book. I'll take action when I feel more ready. Let me tell you something, that day never comes. Never. The most successful people I've ever met didn't start because they were ready. They got ready because they started. I've spent years studying why some people take that first step while others stay stuck in the harbor of life, waiting for perfect conditions. And I've discovered something fascinating about human nature. We all have this remarkable ability to rationalize our way out of action. Isn't that interesting? We're more creative at finding reasons not to start than actually starting. The difference between success and failure isn't knowledge. No, we're living in the information age. Knowledge is everywhere. You can find 1,000 books on any subject, watch countless videos, attend seminars until you're blue in the face. But here's the thing, knowledge isn't what separates the winners from the losers, it's action. I remember talking to a young man after one of my seminars. Bright fellow, had read every business book you could imagine. He knew all the theories, could quote all the experts. I asked him about his business and he said, "Well, I'm getting ready to start." I said, "How long have you been getting ready?" His answer, 3 years. 3 years of preparing and not 1 day of doing. Now, let me share with you what I call the philosophy of beginning. It's really quite simple, but don't let its simplicity fool you. Some of the most powerful truths in life are the simplest. First, understand this. Every day you wait has a cost. Oh yes, waiting isn't free. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, life is passing by. Opportunities are passing by. Growth is passing by. You see, time doesn't wait for your courage to catch up with your dreams. The formula I want you to write down, write the cost of waiting to be compound effect of small beginnings time lost. Now, isn't that interesting? Most people focus on the risk of taking action, but they never calculate the risk of waiting. They never add up the cost of all those Monday mornings where they said, "I'll start next week." Everything in life compounds. Success compounds. Failure compounds. Procrastination compounds. When you understand this, you realize that small beginnings aren't just important. They're everything. I planted a small apple tree in my backyard years ago. Now, if you came by a week later and looked at that tree, you might have said, "Nothing's happening." But something was happening. Underground roots were spreading. Energy was being gathered. Life was preparing for growth. Your first step is like that apple tree. It might not look like much on the surface, but underneath, something magical is happening. You're building momentum. You're creating energy. You're setting forces in motion that will compound over time. What most people don't understand about beginnings, they're never about what you accomplish on day one. They're about who you become by day 1,000. The person who starts today and does just a little bit, just takes that first small step, will be miles ahead of the person who waits for the perfect moment. Life rewards action, not intention. I've never met a successful person who said, I achieved my dreams by waiting for the perfect moment. But I've met countless successful people who said, I just started, and then I figured it out along the way. Now let me tell you about something fascinating I've discovered over the years. You see, there are 4 enemies that will stop you from taking that first step. And what makes them so dangerous is that they don't look like enemies at all. Oh no, they come dressed as friends, as wisdom, as common sense. Fear disguised as preparation. This is perhaps the cleaviest of all enemies because it feels so responsible. Have you ever noticed how preparation can become a form of procrastination? I need to read one more book. I need to take one more course. I need to do more research. Listen carefully now because this is important. There's a difference between preparation and paralysis. Preparation is getting ready to do something. Paralysis is getting ready to get ready. You see the difference. One leads to action. The other leads to more preparation. I remember a woman who came to me, said she wanted to start a catering business. I asked her what she was doing about it. She said, well, I'm studying business plans, learning about food safety regulations, researching commercial kitchen requirements. I said, that's wonderful. How many meals have you cooked for paying customers? Her answer, none. She was so busy preparing to be a caterer that she forgot to be a caterer. The second enemy is what I call the myth of perfect timing. Oh, this one's dangerous because it sounds so logical. I'll start when the economy improves. I'll begin when the kids are older. I'll do it when I have more time. Let me tell you something profane. There is no perfect time. Never has been. You know what successful people do? They don't wait for the perfect time. They take the present time and make it perfect. They understand that timing isn't about conditions, it's about decisions. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Same goes for your dreams. Now, the third enemy might be the most painful one, comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Isn't it interesting how we do that? We look at someone who's been in business for 20 years and feel discouraged because we're just starting. We see someone who's been practicing their craft for decades and think we're not good enough because we're beginners. Let me share something with you that changed my life. Success is not a competition with others. It's a competition with yourself. When you start comparing yourself to others, you're playing a game you can never win because you're comparing your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. And finally, we come to what I consider the most dangerous enemy of all, the comfort zone illusion. Now, why do I call it an illusion? Because your comfort zone isn't really comfortable at all. It's just familiar. And there's a world of difference between comfortable and familiar. Everything you want that you don't have right now exists outside your comfort zone, everything. Your dream business outside your comfort zone, your ideal relationship outside your comfort zone, outside your comfort zone. What most people do, they keep doing what's familiar, hoping somehow it will lead to what they want. That's like driving east hoping to see the sunset. It doesn't matter how long you drive or how fast you go. You're heading in the wrong direction. These 4 enemies. Fear disguised as preparation, the myth of perfect timing, comparison, and the comfort zone illusion. They work together. They create what I call the perfect storm of inaction. They give you just enough reasons, just enough excuses, just enough rationalizations to stay exactly where you are. Once you can identify these enemies, once you can see them for what they are, They lose their power over you. When you realize that fear disguised as preparation is still just fear, you can choose action instead. When you understand that perfect timing is a myth, you can start now. When you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you can write your own story. And when you see through the comfort zone illusion, you can step into growth. Success? It follows mathematical principles. Now don't worry, I'm not going to give you complex equations, but I want to share with you what I call the mathematics of success. And once you understand this, it will change everything about how you approach your goals. Small actions first. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can do in a day and dramatically underestimate what they can do in a year. Isn't that interesting? They think success requires giant leaps, when in reality, success is built one small step at a time. Let me give you a simple example. If you improve just 1% every day, just 1%, think about that. In 1 year, you'll be 37 times better. Not 365% better, but 37 times better. That's the power of compound improvement. Small actions don't just add up, they multiply. I remember talking to a young man who wanted to write a book. He said he didn't have time to write. I asked him, can you write 1 page a day? He said, yes. I said, that's 365 pages in a year. That's a book. His eyes got wide. He never thought about it that way. You see, we often miss the power of small actions because we're too focused on big results. What I call the miracle of consistency. Consistency is where the real magic happens. You see, most people look for the big break, the quantum leap, the overnight success, but success doesn't work that way. Success loves consistency more than it loves intensity. Would you rather have $1,000 today or a penny that doubles every day for 30 days? Most people would take the $1,000. But that penny doubled every day becomes over $5 million by day 30. That's the power of consistency combined with compound growth. Time. It's either working for you or against you. There is no neutral ground. When you take consistent action, time becomes your ally. Your knowledge compounds. Your skills compound. Your network compounds. Your influence compounds. But when you're not taking action, time becomes your enemy. Opportunities pass you by, skills become outdated, dreams fade away. That's why understanding the mathematics of success is so crucial. It helps you see how time can work in your favor. Every investment you make in yourself has the potential for returns far beyond your initial investment. When you invest $100 in a book, what's the real value? It's not the $100, it's the ideas you get from that book that could be worth millions. I know a woman who invested $500 in a business course. She thought it was expensive at the time, but one idea from that course, just one idea, helped her build $1 million business. Now, was that $500 an expense or an investment? When you understand the economics of personal development, you stop looking at the cost and start looking at the return. Here's the formula I want you to remember. Small actions, consistency time, exponential results. Write that down. This is the mathematics of success. It's not complicated, but it's powerful. And the best part, it works whether you believe in it or not. Just like gravity, these principles are always in operation. Success isn't an event, it's a muscle. And just like any muscle in your body, your action muscle either grows stronger with use or weaker with neglect. There's no standing still in life. It's creating daily disciplines. Most people wait to feel motivated before they take action. But successful people, they understand that motivation is a result of action, not the cause of it. They've learned to create what I call non-negotiable daily discipline. Let me explain what I mean by non-negotiable. These are the things you do regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's happening in your life, regardless of whether the stars are aligned. Just like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up in the morning and debate whether you feel like brushing your teeth, do you? No, you just do it. I remember meeting a successful entrepreneur years ago. I asked him the secret to his success. He pulled out a small notebook from his pocket. Inside were 5 things he did every single day. No excuses, no exceptions. He said, these 5 things are more important than my feelings, more important than my circumstances, more important than my convenience. How you start your day often determines how you live your day. The first hour of your morning is like the first domino. Knock it over the right way and everything else falls into place. I want to share with you what I call the golden hours. These are the early morning hours when most people are still sleeping. This time is magical because it's uninterrupted. No phone calls, no emails, no demands. Just you and your dreams, you and your goals, you and your future. What's interesting about morning rituals, they don't have to be complicated. Start simple. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes. Maybe it's writing down your goals. Maybe it's exercise. The key isn't what you do first. The key is that you do something purposeful first. Building momentum through small wins. This is where most people get it wrong. They try to start too big, try to change everything at once. But success doesn't work that way. Success loves small wins. Think about pushing a car. The hardest part is getting it moving from a standstill. But once it's moving, it becomes easier to keep it moving. That's momentum. And that's exactly how your action muscle works. Let me share a story. I knew a woman who wanted to get in shape. Instead of trying to do an hour at the gym, she started with 1 push-up, just 1. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But here's what happened. That 1 push-up became 2, then 5, then 10. Today, she runs marathons. You see, she understood the power of small wins. And this brings us to perhaps the most important part, turning actions into habits. Habits are interesting things. At first, we make our habits, and then our habits make us. That's worth writing down. First, we make our habits make us. The secret to creating habits, you need to understand the 3 R's. Reminder, routine, and reward. The reminder triggers the action, the routine is the action itself, and the reward reinforces the action. Let me give you an example. Say you want to develop a reading habit. Your reminder might be putting a book on your pillow. The routine is reading for 10 minutes before bed. The reward might be marking your progress in a journal. Simple? Yes. Powerful? Absolutely. Habits. They have compound interest. Every time you perform a habit, you're not just doing an action. You're casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every small win, every morning ritual, every daily discipline is strengthening your action muscle. Remember this, the difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. Not what you know, not what you plan, not what you intend, what you do. And your action muscle is what bridges that gap. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. Now, isn't that interesting? We spend so much time trying to push ourselves forward when what we really need to do is create an environment that pulls us forward. I learned something profound years ago. You will inevitably become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a moment. Look around at your 5 closest associates. Are they action takers or excuse makers? Are they moving forward or standing still? Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? I remember talking to a young athlete who was struggling to reach his goals. He complained about lack of motivation, lack of drive. I asked him about his training partners. Turns out he was always the best one in the gym. I told him, if you're always the best one in the room, you're in the wrong room. When you surround yourself with action takers, something magical happens. Their standard becomes your normal. Their excellence becomes your average. Their achievements become your baseline. That's why I say environment is stronger than willpower. What I call a success environment, this is about engineering your surroundings to make success almost inevitable. Think about this. If you want to eat better, what's smarter? Stocking your kitchen with healthy food or trying to resist junk food through willpower alone? Environments, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, they never take a day off. They never get tired. They never lose focus. While your willpower goes up and down, your environment stays constant. When you're only accountable to yourself, it's easy to let things slide. But when you're accountable to someone else, something changes. Your excuses suddenly sound like what they are. Excuses. I know a businessman who struggled for years to wake up early. He tried everything: alarm clocks, coffee makers on timers, going to bed earlier. Nothing worked. Then he did something interesting. He found an accountability partner. They called each other every morning at 5 a.m. Missing a call meant putting $100 in a jar. Suddenly, waking up early became easy. Why? Because the environment changed. Most people never think about removing obstacles before they appear. You see, success loves speed, and nothing slows you down more than having to deal with obstacles in the moment. If you were going to run a race tomorrow, would you wait until race day to clear the track? Of course not. You'd clear it beforehand. But in life, how often do we wait until we're in the moment to deal with obstacles? A simple example. Want to exercise in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to eat healthy? Prepare your meals in advance. Want to read more? Put a book by your bedside. These aren't just conveniences. They're environmental success factors. Your environment will either facilitate your success or facilitate your failure. There is no neutral ground. Every aspect of your environment is either working for you or against you. The books on your shelf, the people in your circle, the messages on your wall, they're all part of your success environment. Let me share with you what I consider the ultimate success formula. Now, this isn't complicated, but don't let its simplicity fool you. Some of the most powerful principles in life are also the simplest. Here it is. Clear goals plus immediate action equals results. That's it. Why this formula is so profound and why most people miss its power entirely. Most people have fuzzy goals and crystal clear excuses. Isn't that interesting? They can tell you in vivid detail why something won't work, but ask them exactly what they want and suddenly everything gets vague. A conversation I had with a struggling business owner. I asked him about his goals. He said, I want to grow my business. I said, great, by how much? He said, well, more than last year. See the problem? That's not a goal, that's a wish. A goal without specifics is like a ship without a destination. Why clarity matters so much? Your mind is like a heat-seeking missile. It needs a clear target. When you're vague about what you want, you get vague results. But when you're crystal clear, something magical happens. Your mind starts working 24 hours a day to achieve it. I remember a young woman who came to me, frustrated about her lack of progress. She said she wanted to help people. I asked her to be more specific. After some discussion, she clarified. I want to open a physical therapy clinic that serves 100 patients per month, specializing in sports injuries. Within a year, she had her clinic. Why? Because clarity breeds results. Writing things down. There's a tremendous difference between having a goal in your head and having it on paper. Something extraordinary happens when you write it down. Every manufactured thing you see around you, the chair you're sitting in, the building you're in, the clothes you're wearing, started as a written specification. Nothing was ever built without a clear, written plan. Why should your goals be any different? What happens when you write things down? First, it forces you to get clear. You can't be vague on paper. Second, it acts as a contract with yourself. And third, this is the magical part. It engages both sides of your brain. The act of writing transforms your goal from a thought into a commitment, making success automatic. Success loves systems more than it loves effort. That's worth writing down. Success loves systems more than it loves effort. Let me explain what I mean. Imagine you want to save money. You could rely on willpower, trying to remember to save some money each month. Or you could set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account. Which do you think works better? I knew a man who struggled with time management. Every day was chaos. Then he did something remarkable. He created what he called his success system. He planned his next day the night before. He scheduled his most important tasks for the first 2 hours of the day. He blocked out specific times for emails and phone calls. Within a month, his productivity tripled. Is the formula I want you to remember. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. But it all starts with clarity. Something profound about this formula. It works in reverse too. When you take immediate action, it actually helps clarify your goals. It's like driving at night. Your headlights might only show you 200 feet ahead, but you can drive across the entire country that way. Remember this, the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people isn't the quality of their goals. It's the level of clarity they have about their goals and the speed at which they take action. Successful people don't have better goals. They have better clarity and faster implementation. A lot of profound ideas today. But you know what? Ideas without action are just entertainment. And I didn't come here to entertain you. I came here to help you transform your life. So let me give you a challenge that will turn everything we've discussed into reality. I call this the 30-day action revolution. Not 29 days, not 31 days, exactly 30 days. Why? Because in 30 days, you can either be a different person or you can be the same person making the same excuses. The choice is yours, but the time is now. What I want you to do, take out your notebook, not your phone, not your tablet. Your notebook, there's something powerful about putting pen to paper. I want you to write down these specific steps we're going to take together. Step 1, before you leave this room today, write down your single most important goal. Not 2 goals, not 3 goals. 1 goal. The power of focus is the power of achievement. Make it specific, make it measurable, and make it matter. Step 2, when you wake up tomorrow morning, and I mean first thing before you check your phone, before you turn on the TV, take 1 action toward that goal. Just 1. Maybe it's making a phone call. Maybe it's writing 1 page. Maybe it's doing 1 push-up. The size of the action doesn't matter. The fact that you take it does. Most people wait for motivation to strike before they take action. But here's something profane. Action creates motivation. Motion creates emotion. The simple act of doing something, anything, toward your goal will generate more motivation than all the inspirational videos you could watch in a year. Step 3, each night before you go to bed, I want you to write down tomorrow's single most important action. Not a to-do list. 1 action. The 1 thing that will move you closer to your goal. Then put that paper where you'll see it first thing in the morning. Now, where it gets interesting, I want you to do this for 30 consecutive days. Not when it's convenient, not when you feel like it, every single day. Why? Because consistency is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. The power of now. Right now, in this moment, you have more power than you'll ever have again. You know why? Because now is the only time you can actually take action. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the conditions are perfect. Now, I remember talking to a man who had been wanting to start his own business for 15 years. I asked him, when are you going to start? He said, when the time is right. I told him something I want to tell you now. The time will never be right, but right now is always the time. Taking immediate action, it changes your identity. When you take action today, you're not just doing something, you're becoming someone. You're becoming the kind of person who takes action, who makes things happen, who turns dreams into reality. But my challenge to you, my call to action, when you leave this room today, you have a choice to make. You can do what most people will do, feel inspired for a few hours, then go back to their old ways. Or you can do what successful people do, take immediate action. I want you to commit right now. Stand up. Yes? Everyone stand up now. Raise your right hand. When I count to 3, you're going to make a declaration. Not to me, but to yourself. 1, 2. Say it with me. I commit to 30 days of immediate action. Remember this moment. Remember how it feels. Because years from now, you'll look back on this day as either the day you started taking action or just another day you heard another speech. The choice is yours, but the time is now. Let me leave you with this final thought. Life will pay whatever price you have the courage to ask of it, but you have to ask with action, not words. Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. Now get out there and take action. Your 30 days begin now,